Hey everyone, namaste and welcome to our evening's conversation with Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balyogi Bhavnani. So, those of you who are here listening in, please say hello and please leave your comments and questions as well. So, let's make this as interactive as possible as usual, as this is your time as well to connect with Dr. Ananda and ask him everything that you want to. Now, my name is Shailaja Menon, and I have been a yoga practitioner and teacher for over 20 years now. I began my journey in Coimbatore with integral yoga, and in Malaysia, I continued with my teacher Manoj Kaimal. Along the way, I set up my studio, Mat and Beyond Yoga Studio, and my book Yoga Shakti was also published in 2018. And currently, I also host a show on Anand TV called Yoga Shakti Again, which is based in UK and telecast in Europe and North America. So as you can see, the yoga practice has shaped my life, and I just began these conversations during the lockdown to spread authentic teachings of yoga. And I was very grateful to have these wonderful yoga teachers indulge me and come again and again to join my conversations. So let me just acknowledge my gratitude to Dr. Ananda, despite his extremely busy schedule. So before I say anything, I have to say that I was extremely doubtful whether this conversation would happen, because we had actually set this conversation date, like I think 2 months ago, or quite a while ago, a month and a half ago. And he was also, if those of you who don't know it, he was also hobnobbing recently with the likes of Deepak Chopra. So after that, I was quite doubtful whether he would come back to earth and, continue these conversations. And then I also heard about his extremely crazy schedule where he did, I think, 5 events a day or 50 events in 10 days. So we really must be extremely grateful to have Dr. Ananda here with us this evening. So now that I've recorded that, let me get on. Most of you should be knowing him. Most of you here are regulars. So let me just get on with the introduction. Dr. Ananda Balyogi Bhavnani is Director of the Center for Yoga Therapy, Education and Research and Professor of Yoga Therapy at the Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry. And he's also the Chairman of the International Center for Yoga Education Research at Ananda Ashram, Pondicherry, India, and Yoganjali Natyalayam, the premier institute of yoga, Carnatic music, and Bharatanatyam in Pondicherry. Now, he's also the son and successor of the internationally acclaimed yoga team, Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj, and Yoga Charini Ammaji Srimati Devi Bhavnani. Now, a recipient of the prestigious DSc Yoga from S. Vyasa Yoga University in January 2019, he is a gold medalist in medical studies MBBS with postgraduate diplomas in both family health as well as yoga and the advanced diploma in yoga under his illustrious parents. A fellow of the Indian Academy of Yoga, he has authored 19 DVDs and 24 books on yoga, as well as published nearly 300 papers, compilations, and abstracts on yoga and yoga research in national and international journals. Now, I'm just cutting off a lot of the rest of his resume, and I'm just going to some other important areas. All are important, but I'm just choosing a little bit. He's currently a member of numerous expert committees of the Ministry of Ayush, including its National Board for Promotion of Yoga and Naturopathy, Scientific Advisory Committee and Standing Finance Committees of CCRYN, Technical Committee of the Yoga Certification Board, Expert Committees for Celebration of International Yoga Day, and the Yoga and Diabetes Program. He is also the consultant research person for the WHO Collaborative Center in Traditional Medicine Yoga at MDNIY New Delhi, an EC member and director publications of the Indian Yoga Association. Okay, so this is the interesting part. So in addition, he's also a classical Indian vocalist, percussionist, music composer, and choreographer of Indian classical dance. So with this, I invite Dr. Ananda to take over, begin with a prayer, and again, let me record how extremely grateful we are for making the time for us in your extremely busy schedule to have this extremely exciting conversation with us.
It's always a great pleasure, Shailaja, to be with you and through you to reach an extended yoga family of mine all over the world, especially in Malaysia. So it's always a pleasure to be with you, and I'll always make time because time is what we make of it. Let's begin with a prayer to the Guru Parampara, beginning with Maharishi Patanjali and then our own Rishi culture Parampara. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarotam Pravaram Muninam Padanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Om Tatparam Paryaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guruः Prachodayate Om Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. So with the blessings of the Gurus, let's get into today's topic, which is something that I think is going to be very, very interesting. It's an exciting topic. So yes, Shailaja, we are on the run.
So, like they say, let's start at the very beginning. So, I really thought of my questions and decided to start from very basic questions, as in the title of the topic is the energy matrix of yoga. So, let's just begin with what is energy? How would you define energy?
Well, energy is the life force of the universe. Energy is the currency of the universe itself. Because the universe itself is based on the principle of pure energy and the fact that energy can neither be created nor destroyed and just changes form. So energy is constantly changing form. That energy which is constantly changing form is what makes up this constantly changing universe. So I like to feel that energy is the currency of the whole universe, and the energy that is in all of us today is the energy that was there in the Big Bang. So the next time someone says, "How old are you?" you can say, "I am as old energy-wise as the Big Bang itself." So for me, energy is life, energy is the universe, and energy is the key to understanding each and every particle of this vast, limitless universe.
So, what is the connection between yoga and energy, right? So, when we talk about yoga, yoga is all about energy. I keep hearing myself say that as well. So, maybe you can just explain that better.
Well, as I said, energy and the universe are one and the same. So, what is this currency of the universe? It's called prana. So, prana is the life force. Prana is that which has been, is, and will be. Prana is that energy. So, when we talk about us having energy or not having energy, us attuning with energy or losing energy, gaining energy, we are actually using a modern term for prana. So the word prana in the yogic terminology is to me what energy is all about, because prana is Brahman itself. It is said that prana is that which existed before anything was new, pra-ana. And that is why that energy of the cosmos, that vibrational cosmos, we understand through understanding the prana. So everything in yoga is based on prana, be it asana, be it pranayama, be it the yama niyama, be it samadhi. And where does that prana all come from? Well, the highest level of pure energy, which is pure consciousness, the Purusha itself, coming through the changing energy. The changing energy. So the potential energy, you can say, is the Purusha. The kinetic energy is Prakriti. And yoga is based on Purusha, Prakriti. So the potential and the kinetic energies of the cosmos that are in each and every cell of us. So through yoga, you attune yourself to that energy. You start to understand the energy matrix, because we think, oh, I am solid. Because I can see you there, you can see me here. So we say, oh, we are solid, we are matter, and we have mass and weight. Because mass and gravity, you have weight. So we think of ourselves as solid, but we are actually nothing but energy patterns. And if we could have the vision our rishis had, we would see each other as these bundles of energy, and it is like the rangoli being made. We would be seeing energy of each other, rather than saying, oh, Shailaja, you look beautiful today with that beautiful sari, and all of that. I would say, wow, your energy is beautiful, and I can see this beautiful rangoli kolam of energy, dancing, dancing, dancing. We are a dance of energy. But because we don't have that higher perspective, we see things as mass. And that is where Einstein, the greatest mind, in my opinion, of the past 200 years at least, he understood energy is nothing but mass speeded up to the square of light. E is equal to mc square. And the yogis have understood this thousands of years ago, and he came to it through science. So yoga is all about energy. Yoga enables us to connect to energy, and the energy source that is of the cosmos, the andam, and us, the pindam, we start to connect. And when we connect, Sattamuni Siddhar, one of the great Tamil Siddhas, he gives us a beautiful verse. Andathil ullade pindam, pindathil ullade andam. Andathil ullade pindam, pindathil ullade andam. Andamum pindamum ஒன்றே, அண்டமும் பிண்டமும் ஒன்றே, அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. அண்டமும் பிண்டமும் ஒன்றே, அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. அண்டத்தில் உள்ளதே பிண்டம், பிண்டத்தில் உள்ளதே அண்டம். அண்டமும் பிண்டமும் ஒன்றே, அண்டமும் பிண்டமும் ஒன்றே, அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. When you have the realization, you realize the andam and the pindam, the microcosm and the macrocosm are one and the same. That is the greatest perspective of what yoga and energy are.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ananda. I have been listening to you regularly from the beginning of the pandemic, and I must say one line or one verse of yours which has completely fascinated me is this one. And I'm so glad that you brought it out. And though I say it very unpoetically about macrocosm and microcosm and all that, it sounds so different when you are actually singing it so beautifully and bringing it out. So this is really one of my most favorite parts of it, and so beautiful to understand that the universe and we are actually not so different, and everything that is there in the universe is all of that is there in us as well. So thank you for that. That is really beautiful. And I think I haven't done this in a while, so I have been neglecting our audience. So thank you so much, all of you, those of you who have tuned in here. Like most of you are regulars. I'm so completely touched to see all of you here, starting with my aunt, Indira Prabhakaran, who comes for every single talk and who will call me immediately after that and tell me that you said this too many times, so you could have done that better. But that's constructive criticism, and you need somebody to tell you that. People who love you only will tell you that. So many of them here. Balaji, there's Mayank Sharma, and there's Uma Devi. So many people here, Soundarajan sir. So many of you here. Thank you so much for tuning in, Chandula. So do ask any questions that come to your mind. Make this as interactive as possible. Like I said, we are very lucky to have Dr. Ananda with us for this 1 hour. So do make the most of it, and please just write the questions in the chat. Yeah. So, how does energy from the universe? So, okay, we've established that yoga is all about energy, and the, consciousness is all energy. So, but how does that energy from the universe flow into us as individuals, right? How does that happen? Andam
Thank you
pindam
for
sounds great, but
yes.
what is that
Now, what
connection?
is the practicality? Yeah. See, the practicality is very simple. What happens is, it is like we have a house. Okay, you have your house, I have my house, we all have our houses, and we are supplied by electricity. Now, that electricity comes from a main, and we get a connection from that main into our house so that the electricity can come into our house and enable us to function efficiently. Similarly, the universal energy is like the electrical grid. Okay, the electrical grid is there. We need to connect to it. So you have what is called the Mukhya Prana or Maha Prana. So the Maha Prana is the energy of the cosmos, or the Mukhya, the most important prana. This prana has to connect to us, and within us, the same energy then has 12 different functions, 5 physiological functions. And based on the function, it is given a name. It is like, the same electricity, when it goes through your, media devices, you call it audio visual, energy. When it is heating your system, you call it thermal energy. When it is in your, air conditioner, you call it, cooling energy. And so you have, the different type of names for the same energy. The energy is the same, but we call it different names based on function. Similarly, the yogis said, in your body, because the pranamaya kosha is where energy comes alive. In the pranamaya kosha, you have 12 different pranas. What are these pranas? One is called prana itself. So now people get confused. So we call that mukhya prana or maha prana, and this is the individual's prana. You can call that anda prana, and this is pinda prana if you want, which is the function of respiration. And this is why when we breathe properly, we start to connect the individual prana with that maha prana or mukhya prana, which is the whole goal of pranayama, is this type of connectivity, to create a connectivity, which is what pranayama gives us. So pranayama is a vital tool for the individual prana and the cosmic prana to harmonize. That is why when you do it a pranayama, you feel energized. Why? Because you have connected. When you are a shallow breather, you feel disconnected from the cosmos. Shallow breathing is a disconnection. Deep breathing is a connection. Pranayama is the best internet connection you have ever had. So that is how pranayama is working. So you have prana, which is respiration, udana, which is communication. If the udana is not working, I cannot communicate with you. If my samana is not working, I cannot digest my food. If my apana is not working, I cannot excrete. And if my dhyana is not working, circulation will not occur. So this prana, which is the universal prana, starts to have its counterpoint in the individual doing the functions. And then 5 reflexes, Naga, Kurma, Krika, Devadatta, Dhananjaya, that are protective reflexes. And then in my father's teaching, 2 more para pranavayus, one which is called Chitra pranavayu, and the other is Akasha pranavayu. Chitra pranavayu enables an Annamaya pranamaya energy to become a thought. So it is the upgrading energy. So I say it's like you upload a file from your computer to the internet. You need an energy. It is called Chitra pranavayu. You are creating an image from dots. Akasha pranavayu is you are plucking a thought out of thin air. So Anandamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha level is being brought to Manomaya. So all of these 12 Dwadasha pranavayus are in us. And the most important one is the connection to prana, which is through the pranayama. But another connectivity which my father talks about is the Manipura chakra. And later on we'll talk about chakras. But the Manipura chakra, the navel center, which is our psychic umbilical cord. So just as the baby, and you have had two beautiful sons, and Devasena has had two beautiful kids here in Divya and Anandraj. Every mother, when the baby is formed in the womb, there is the umbilical cord connecting the mother to the baby. Similarly, we are connected to our universal mother, Jagat Janani. The universal mother is Jagat Janani. And we are connected by a psychic umbilical cord, which is the Manipura Chakra. So in our teachings, that at birth, the first breath of life, that the energy comes into Manipura Chakra, and then it spreads throughout the body. From Manipura, it goes up into the upper part of the body. From Manipura, it goes down to the lower part of the body. And then we are suddenly this energy being, and our connection with the cosmos is through Manipura. So the work on the navel center enhances it. So we'll come back to this in the chakras and remind me about it. There are specific practices you can do to reconnect yourself by working on the Manipura, the psychic umbilical cord.
So that was really fascinating and very well explained. So I really like how you brought out, how that Mukhya Prana comes into us, and then there are all these different divisions of prana, and not to get confused that they are not separate pranas, but just different names for the same prana, so that they just have different functions. And
it is a
of course,
functional classification. Many people make mistakes when they try to correlate yogic concepts with modern scientific terms because they use anatomy. You shouldn't use structure. What you need to do is you need to look at function, because yoga is all about a functional being, not a structure, but a functional being. So the moment you connect to the functional essence, your correlations will be more stronger. They'll be much more stronger. I'll give you a simple example. We have what are called Ida and Pingala Nadis. These are the energy flows on the right and the left. Now, what happened is, initially, when people started to do this cross connection between modern science and yogic concepts, what happened is that suddenly somebody said, when you dissect the human body, on either side of the spinal cord, there is a chain of ganglia. On the right, there's one chain. On the left, one chain. And suddenly everybody went gaga about it. And they said, the chain on the right is the Pingala Nadi. The chain on the left is the Ida Nadi. And everybody was so happy about it. Now it is totally wrong. Because both the chains on right and left side of your spinal cord are sympathetic in nature. They are sympathetic ganglia, not parasympathetic, sympathetic. So if we correlate Pingala Nadi with the sympathetic nervous system, now this is functional, not structural. The moment you correlate Pingala Nadi with sympathetic and Ida Nadi with parasympathetic, you have a functional correlation which is closer to the truth than these two sympathetic ganglia that were correlated. Both are sympathetic, both are activation. And this is one of the biggest issues. And people have got stuck with anatomical correlations. We need to look at functional, physiological correlations to make sense of modern concepts or modern terms and yogic concepts.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So just taking some questions here. We have a question from, just excuse me if I don't pronounce your names correctly, Kagan Kalita. So he asks whether energy and prana both are same or has difference.
Well, in my perspective, both are the same. I feel the best way to understand prana is by understanding the word energy. Because if we understand it as energy, we'll be able to explain it in such a beautiful way. Because otherwise, prana is made to be sound. People make it sound like it's something so abstract that then people are like, oh, what is this? Is it in hi-fi in the sky? And everybody starts to have hallucinations. The moment you understand prana as energy, you can start dealing with it in a much more mindful, day-to-day practical way. And this is what pranayama is all about. Because in pranayama, you are opening up to the prana and you're understanding how potential and kinetic energy transformation is occurring with the breath. So I would say, yes, in my perspective, energy and prana are synonyms. We can go into nitpicking and say there's fine, points there. But I would say in general, yes, I would go with that.
Okay, and I think really the important takeaway is that pranayama is one key tool to help us with enhancing our experience of prana.
Thank you for
Now,
that. Thank you for saying that. Enhancing our experience of prana, because everybody keeps on saying, I'm going to expand prana. What is this ego trip? You will expand prana. Who are you to expand prana? Prana is as expanded as the cosmos. What are we expanding? We are expanding our understanding, our perspective, our connection. So thank you for that, Shailaja. You were right on the dot there. Right on the dot.
well, I've heard this too many times from you, and then sitting across you, I cannot really say anything but that. I have your words ringing in my head. So I didn't want to be the one to get you started on, how people twist pranayama and yeah. So can we explore?
Don't ever call it breathing exercise. Don't ever call it breathing exercise. That will really get me. Okay.
Yes, so I have to be so careful when I talk. So we go to the most, I think, awaited part of the conversation, which is to explore chakras. And how there's so much, why I brought this up is because there's so much of information, or I don't know whether to say information or misinformation on the net, right, regarding chakras and regarding, balancing our chakras going out of alignment. So again, I've heard a lot from you as well regarding your thoughts on that. So I thought maybe you could just share, because most people are quite gullible, right? We have no information, and then we tend to, YouTube has become our guru now, so we tend to just believe everything that we hear, and we think we need to do something to our chakras, our poor chakras. So just to get some authentic information from you.
It's quite funny, because just a few days ago I got an email from someone who said, "Thank you, Dr. Ananda. Because of listening to you, I saved 27,000 rupees on someone suggesting they should do all these things to balance their chakras." And they said, listening to you, I realized I can do it myself. I don't need to get all this paraphernalia to balance my chakras. It's big business out there. You see, the chakras, again, people have made this so abstract. I'll go back to Einstein. E is equal to mc square. The chakras are pure energy. And the chakras are pure energy that are related to us through the Anandamaya Kosha. So in the Anandamaya Kosha, which is our causal level of existence, in tune with what we call the Karana Sharira, the chakras are pure energy. Now, as the koshas become tighter and tighter, we lose freedom. In Anandamaya Kosha, we have maximum freedom. As we come to Vijnanamaya Kosha, we become tighter. Manomaya Kosha become tighter. Pranamaya Kosha tighter. In Annamaya Kosha, we are in a box. That's why when people die, they put them in a box. So in Annamaya Kosha, we are boxed up. We are in a tight space where the freedom is the least. The freedom is the least in Annamaya Kosha. Freedom is the most in Anandamaya Kosha. So in Anandamaya Kosha, the chakras are pure energy. Now those chakras which are working through us, sustaining us, as they come down our koshas into the Annamaya, energy becomes mass. So E is equal to mc square. Mass is at the level of the Annamaya Kosha. E is at the level of the Anandamaya Kosha. And the change from mass to energy, Stula Sharira to Karana Sharira, is through the Sukha Sharira, where Pranamaya Kosha comes in, the Manomaya Kosha comes in, the Vijnanamaya Kosha comes in. And this is why the work with prana through pranayama, the work with the manas through dharana, and going into the Viveka Buddhi through Dhyana and Samadhi. What we are doing is we are moving from mass to energy. So the chakras, which are pure energy, have a correlation in the physical body in the form of endocrine glands and nerve plexi. So the endocrine gland is solid. You can hold somebody's gonads, you can hold somebody's pancreas, you can hold somebody's thyroid and pituitary gland because it is mass. It is Annamaya Kosha. You can see the pelvic nerves, you can see the glossopharyngeal nerves, you can see the cavernous plexus nerves, you can hold them, you can dissect them because they are in the Annamaya Kosha, they are mass. But what happens? They are the slowest form of vibration of the chakra. The highest form of vibration of the chakra is pure energy in Anandamaya Kosha. So what happens is someone has the thyroid gland removed because of thyroid cancer. Somebody has the ovaries removed because of ovarian issues. Somebody has the testicles removed because of some testicular disease. And suddenly somebody says, oh, this person doesn't have a Mooladhara chakra anymore. This person doesn't have a Vishuddha chakra anymore. That's utter nonsense, to quote Amul Bhatter. Utterly nonsensical. Because the energy is still there. Anandamaya Kosha chakra is still there. You have only removed the physical correlate in the physical body, the Annamaya Kosha. You have not touched the energy. The energy is still there. It is like I cut the wire in my house and say, hey, there's no electricity. No. Electricity is there. Problem is I have cut my connection. And this is why it is so important to understand the endocrine glands, the nerve plexi, they are at the structural level and they are a conduit for the energy to flow. When the Mooladhara energy is flowing without any imbalance, your gonadal function will be normal. When your Vishuddha energy is flowing without any imbalance or deviation, distortion, at that point, your thyroid function will be normal. But then what happens? Between the Anandamaya and Annamaya, we have three bodies. Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. And we mess them up. Because of our choices, our attitudes, the way we live, what we do with the body. And by doing that, we create blocks in the energy between the highest form of chakra in the Anandamaya and its structural correlation in the Annamaya. Chakra is still normal. And so when people go around, I am going to energize the chakras. You are going to energize nothing. The chakras are already energy. I told you, are you going to expand prana? No, prana is already expanded. But what has happened? We have created blocks. These blocks have been created by our physical lifestyle issues, our mental attitudes, and the wrong choices we have made. And this is why when you want to reconnect, you need to start to work with the physical body in a healthy way. Asana and pranayama. You need to work with your thought patterns. That is where. How do you work with thought patterns? Pranayama. Chale yate chale chittam. How you move the air through your breath is how you are going to move your mind. You cannot directly affect the mind. So you move. So the body work, asana, is where asana and pranayama, you are working with the unblocking at the physical level. You are unblocking at the energy level. Prana blocks are unblocked by pranayama. And then the mental attitudes, pratipaksha bhavanam, the chatur bhavana, the attitudes you choose towards life, and the negation of devolutionary patterns, viparita buddhi that we have. So these are the choices we make to work with the body, to work with the breath, to focus the mind and work with the power of choice. And by doing that, we unblock the block that has disconnected Annamaya to Anandamaya. This is what we have to do. Putting your hand on somebody's sacral area and going in circles is not going to do anything. It will be a very nice massage, okay? So you feel good. There's nice heat. You say, yes, my kundalini is rising, my Mooladhara is awakened. Nothing's happening. It is just the rubbing. And if you put some oil, it's a nice massage that makes you feel good. Rubbing your tummy, okay, you feel good. You are doing nothing to Manipura chakra by rubbing your tummy. And the worst part of it, everybody thinks chakras are on the front of the body because people wear them on t-shirts. So, the t-shirt, Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, and so everybody's like the chakras on the front. The chakras are not on the front of your body. The chakras are energies that are moving, spiraling up your central axis called the spinal cord. Inside the spinal cord, there is a central canal that is empty, and that empty space is connected to an energy flow which is called Sushumna Nadi. And that Sushumna Nadi is the energy from the Kanda up to the Brahmarandhra, and that is the path Kundalini, Ma Kundalini has to take from the Kanda up to the Brahmarandhra, going up that path, and the energies are spiraling. So this is the, if this is your Sushumna, the energies are spiraling up like this. They are not on the front, they are not on the back, they are spiraling like this. And they are spiraling in a clockwise direction, pradakshina. And this is why the petals are not, they're painted. If people paint the chakras, I'm sure your yoga studio has a chakra painting on the wall. Everybody has it. Everybody has it. And so everybody thinks, oh, there are 4 petals and, like that. No, the one petal is on the front. In Mooladhara, 4 petals. The one is in front of you, one to your right side, one behind you, one to the left. So you are sitting in a lotus with one big petal in front of you. What is the petal? It is an energy flow moving forward. Another to your right, an energy moving to the right, an energy moving behind, an energy moving out. So the Mooladhara is these 4 petals, and how do they spin? For Diwali in Tamil Nadu, we put the chakras, and they go around and around. I say that is the best example of the Kundalini, the energy flow of chakras. And they are spinning like a top. And so when you do the Bija mantras, I see Radhika asking, the Bija mantra, that is what is happening here. You are using the Bija mantra to connect to these petals so that you start to vibrate at their frequency. They are vibrating at frequencies that are faster than the speed of light. So we cannot go faster than the speed of light. But what we can do, we can go faster and faster. So we start chanting, Om Lang Vang Rang Yang Hang Ang Om, and we go faster. Lang Vang Rang Yang Ang Om, Lang Vang Rang Yang Om, Lang Vang, and you start to go faster. If it is the 4 petals, Wang Shang Shang Sang Wang Shang Shang Sang, and then going faster. Wang Shang Shang Sang Wang Shang Shang Sang Wang Shang Sang Wang Shang Sang Wang Shang Sang. What you are doing is, through these bija sounds, the mantra laya, you are trying to speed yourself up to the speed of the chakra itself. You are trying to speed up from mass to energy. Now you say, how can we do that, Dr. Ananda? Well, Einstein's equation, E is equal to mc square. So the square of the speed of light. But speed of light is beyond our control. What do we have in our control? The speed of mind. Because the human mind is the fastest thing ever in the universe. We say light is the fastest thing. No, your mind is faster. Because I have just thought I am there with Shailaja and already I am there. Whereas light is still going out of my ashram here in Pondicherry. Light is still going out the door and I'm already there because my mind can go so fast. My mind is on the moon. Light is still going out the corner of my ashram here. The mind is so powerful. So when you focus that all-pointed mind, it's called Sarvartha Ekagratayo. Sarva Artha. You are caught up with all the things, you are scattered light. You focus your mind like a laser beam. And you start to focus with the power of the dharana on each of the chakra. You are utilizing the bija mantra. And suddenly what happens? Mass is starting to get speeded up. And you are starting to move into an experience of energy. Now, I think you got more than you bargained for. That's what it's all about.
I'm just going to ask you a very simple question. So that means the chakras, in essence, are really never blocked. And
Chakras are not blocked.
So it is, because that's what you generally see, right? Unblock your chakra and,
Nonsense.
align your chakra.
Nonsense.
So what we are trying to do,
utterly nonsensical stuff to delude people and cheat people in the name of yoga and tantra. That bad word tantra, which has been misused by people. Because everybody thinks it's all about, keeping your gonads moving all the time. No, it's not about that. It's about becoming one with energy. You cannot block. Your chakras are never blocked. You are blocked from your chakras. It's like you exist there. I close my eyes and I say, Shailaja doesn't exist. Shailaja doesn't exist. No, Shailaja exists. I have closed my eyes. My mother used to say, ignorance. She said the root of ignorance is to ignore. We are ignoring things that are in front of us, and hence we are ignorant. And that is what we have become. The chakras are pure energy. But what has happened? We have lost our connection. We have lost our connection. So we are reconnecting. We are unblocking. But not the chakra. We are unblocking our mala. Mala has clogged up the system. That is why mala shuddhi has to be done. And not only our own mala shuddhi of modern yoga has to also be done. You got a bit of gangster there. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think in general, the essence of of this conversation in terms of pranayama and chakra is really very similar, as in it is our attempt to connect to prana, and it is our attempt to connect to the energy of the chakras, which is blocked. So it's not the chakras in itself, but it's our connection that is kind of lost, and we are trying to reconnect through the power of our focus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are a good student. You got it perfect. You get 10 out of 10 for that.
I've heard you often enough, the gangster version too. So I think we have Radhika asking you another question. Would you just want to answer that?
Yeah. How can we prove and evaluate the effects of chakra meditation or Akshar Vigyan scientifically? Why do you need scientific validation for everything? Science is the new religion. And we keep on going on and on. According to science. Who has seen an electron? I haven't seen an electron. Science says there are electrons, so I believe science. So the problem is we always want the scientific validation. And all of the scientific tools that we use today, even in yoga research, and this morning I gave a talk on past, present, and future of yoga research, which I'll give on 15th again for Somya University. See, the problem is we are trying to see something, evaluate something that is beyond the sensory spectrum. Now, even science understands we human beings, we cannot hear everything. We cannot see everything. We cannot perceive everything because our senses are limited. Now, all of the scientific equipment that has been devised is based on the human sensory apparatus. The camera was devised based on the eyes. So, if you start to look at it, everything is devised on the human sensory apparatus, which is in itself limited. So we are looking at tools that are sensory tools. We need supra-sensory tools to understand energy, because these energies are out of the level of the senses. Now, you say, then how do we believe it? Well, the best experience is the best proof. As Soundarajan said, mango is sweet. Mango is sweet. You don't need scientific proof. Oh, yes, this mango has been certified by ISRO to be sweet. You taste the mango, it is sweet. And then somebody will come with a questionnaire. How sweet is it on a scale 1 to 10? See, what we have done, we have forgotten to let people just enjoy the sweetness of the mango. Because we say, has the sweetness of the mango been scientifically validated? Now see, I'm a scientist. I'm a medical doctor. I have done huge amount of yoga research. But what I will say is, what I have found till now is just the tip of the iceberg. The actual iceberg of yoga and its suprasensory phenomena, we are yet to explore. Now it will happen slowly. Science is growing, and that is why I love science. I'm not anti-science, I'm pro-science. but I understand the limitations of science. I am pro yoga, but I understand the limitations of yoga. Because when we understand our limitations, we can start to work on them. If I say no, science has no limitation, you will never try to work on it. If I say yoga has no limitation, I will never try to work on it. So let us see the limitation. And we start to work with the chakra. The best way is that you start to feel a sense of connectivity. When you start to do these practices, as you unblock yourself, and the energy of the chakra can flow without hindrance, without noise. When the chakric energy can flow without noise, you start to experience the music of the chakras. And that music is what harmony is all about. What is music? It is harmonious balance. Now, if I go, and I say that's a new composition in music, you'll say you've gone mad. There has to be a resonance. There has to be a flow. When I sing, it has to be. There has to be a beautiful flow. There has to be harmony. When I make a rhythm, tam, tadam, there has to be that harmony. There has to be that flow. There has to be a beautiful flow happening, and you will feel one with it. But if I'm going, and then I say, this is the new rhythm, you'll say, no, it's arrhythmic. So rhythm, music, harmony, flow, these are experiences you start to feel as you stop the block. You unblock yourself, and suddenly it is like the river has opened. We say, it's like the dam has broken open and the water is just gushing forth. What a beautiful feeling it can be, where the energy is just flowing. Very, very beautiful, very, very beautiful experience. And as a student of science, I love it when science and spirituality can start to find common ground. That is why I love Einstein, because he found common ground. And this is what we need. We need to find common ground. It's not about somebody proving somebody. It's not about, science has proved yoga. No. Is science and yoga are now speaking the same language. One eye is science, other eye is spirituality. You need both. As Einstein said, science without spirituality. Science without spirituality is blind. Spirituality without science is lame. I think it's the opposite. Science without spirituality is blind, and spirituality without science is lame. I think that's what he said. It's a very beautiful one. One eye is science, one is spirituality. And you need both. Because when you have both, you have the microscopic vision and the panoramic vision. And suddenly, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat comes alive in you. See, questions take me. This is the flow. This is where you want to be. You want to have that feeling of connectivity. Sukham. That's what you want to have.
Thank you for that, Dr. Ananda. Now I'm going to rush you because we have many questions left and our time is flying. So we're going to move on to again another very much awaited topic, which is the great Kundalini. And so many misconceptions about that. There's a separate yoga, Kundalini yoga. So does your Kundalini get affected only if you do that, right? How is it integrated with yoga practices? So if you can just shed some light on that.
When my father was working as a medical doctor in the West, he was in charge of many mental health institutions for some time. And he used to say there are more spiritually enlightened people in mental asylums than outside. But because people didn't know what had happened, they put them in the mental hospital. And doctor now for the past 3 decades, I find that same thing. There are so many people who have actually had spiritual experiences, especially of the Kundalini nature. And because nobody knows what it is, they have been classified as having mental illnesses. Now, I'm not saying every mental illness is a Kundalini experience and that every Kundalini experience has to be a mental illness. Why does that happen? Because the Kundalini experience is as real as you and me sitting here and talking right now. You and me are talking here. We are all, this beautiful satsanga is going on. The Kundalini experience is as real as this. So it is not make-believe. But the problem is, the Kundalini is a potential energy that is in the Kanda, which is in the Mooladhara chakra. It is said to be at the base of the spine. And this is why you have all those crazy yogi idiots who jump up and down in Padmasana thinking if you hit your spine, base of your spine on the ground hard enough, the Kundalini will arise. No, you will break your coccyx, that's all. And you will have coccygeal pain for the rest of your life, and that is not a Kundalini experience. So what is important is to respect her. Ma Kundalini. Ma Kundalini is a goddess. A goddess should be treated with respect. Every woman is a divine goddess who should be treated with respect. And the faster we men learn that, the better this world will be. Ma Kundalini is a goddess. An energy that is depicted as a coiled serpent. What does the coiled serpent with its tail in the mouth signify? It is potential energy. Now that potential energy should be aroused when your central canal, Sushumna Nadi, is open and patent. But most of us, that central canal is blocked. Again, by the way we live, the way we think, and all the stuff we do. Now, if the road is blocked and this energy starts to rise, what's going to happen? It's not going to go the pathway it needs to go. It should go through that Sushumna Nadi, the royal carpet, the red carpet, and ascend from the Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna into the Sahasrara, where Kundalini and Shiva, Shakti and Shiva becomes one. They become one. And the cosmic union of Shiva and Shakti is the experience of spiritual awakening. But because the pathway is blocked, if by some other method and by chance it's aroused prematurely, it goes into your nervous system in wiring that is not made for high voltage. You have wires that are not capable of taking the high voltage of the Kundalini, and you burn yourself out tremendously. And we have so many people who have not prepared themselves. My father used to say, prepare yourself. Preparation is 9/10 of the journey. And I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, if I have an axe and I'm to cut a tree, I will spend 9/10 of my time sharpening the axe so that in that 1/10 I can cut the tree. The same thing happens here. We need to prepare ourselves. We have to be worthy. It's called yogyata. Yogyata is when somebody is worthy of the experience of Ma Kundalini and the journey through from Mooladhara to Sahasrara and that experience of spiritual awakening. If we are unworthy, we are not a yogi. Yogyata. Yogi is one who has yogyata, and the one who doesn't have yogyata is an ayogi. And in Tamil we say ayokyan, which means a scoundrel. A scoundrel who wants it, but by hook or crook. And such people who try to get the Kundalini by hook or crook will be burnt. And that is why the great Abhayar, in the Vinayaka Ragaval, she sings, Kundali Adane Kudiya Ajabai Vindel Mandiram Velipada Uraithe Mooladharat Moondel Kanalai Kalal Yerupum அமுத நிலையும் ஆதித்தனியகமும் குமுத சகாயன் குணத்தையும் கூறி இடை சக்கரத்தின் நீரட்டு நிலையும் சக்கரத்தின் உறுப்பையும் காட்டி. And it all starts. இடை பிங்களையின் எழுத்தறிவித்து கடையிற் சுழுமுனை கபாலமும் காட்டி மூன்று மண்டலத்தின் முட்டிய தூணின் நான்கெழு பாம்பின் நாவில் உணர்த்தே. Abhaya gave a song on Ganesha. No. It is the secret of Kundalini. You have to work on Idai Pingalai, Ida in Pingala. You have to get the Sushumna ready. Idai Pingalai in Yerutari with the Kadayit Sulumunai. Sulumunai is the Sushumna. And from Mooladhara, the Kundali, Adani, Kudiya, Ajabai, Ajapa. Ajapa mantra is there. These mantras are used and the Kundalini arises, moves up and into that corpus callosum where that experience, that is where that experience comes. But you know, people want a shortcut. Can't you just tap me on my tailbone with a peacock feather and, you know, get my Kundalini moving? No, it is not another experience. My father used to say, this is not, I want a Kundalini experience so that I can write about it in my blog. No, these are life transforming experiences. These are spiritual awakening. These are not for fun and frolic. But people just want it. Why do you want Kundalini arousal? Well, just so that I can tell my friends about it and put an Instagram status. Kundalini aroused yogi. Huh? No, it's not like that. These are very, very intricate topics that have to be dealt with. Sincerity, humility, gratitude, respect, and care. We have to be careful, which means full of care. And you prepare yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually for the experience.
So would you say that asana, pranayama, all of that helps in the preparation?
Absolutely. Asana and pranayama are preparations. Asana and pranayama are preparations. But even more important than that, adhikara yoga, yama niyama. Because without yama niyama, a terrorist becomes a better terrorist using asana and pranayama. So you don't want more terrorists out there and strengthening their negativity. Yama niyama gives a firm foundation of morality and ethics, based on which the asana and pranayama unblocks. You then have the mudras. What are the mudras and bandhas for? The three bandhas, Moola Bandha, Udhyana Bandha, and Jalandhara Bandha. These are not techniques just for fun, again for Instagram post. Moola Bandha, because what happens? The universe is very clever. It says these guys will make a mess of it. Because everything the universe has given us, humankind, we have made a mess of it. We have made a mess of everything it has given. So it said, oh my God, there is this energy called Kundalini. I better be careful. So it said, what I will do is I'll put three fuses, three circuit breakers. One circuit breaker is called Brahma Granthi at Mooladhara. The second is called Vishnu Granthi at Manipura. Third is called Mahadeva Granthi. Some say at the throat, some say at the Agnya, depending on the tradition. So these are three circuit breakers, speed breakers, fuses that have been placed so that you cannot just go through it. You cannot just go through it. Now, how do you open the Brahma Granthi? Moola Bandha. The practice of Moola Bandha opens mindfully, consciously the Brahma Granthi. So the energy can start to flow. When you do the Udyana Bandha, you are now unblocking and opening a lock. What is that knot? That is Vishnu Granthi. And when you do Jalandhara Bandha, the Mahadeva or Rudra Granthi is opened. So the bandhas are the secret to opening the pathway for the seamless and safe arousal of Kundalini to occur. Which is why the mudras, they look like asana. Many of the Hatha mudras look like asanas, but they are not asanas because they have the bandhas along with them. You have to add the bandha to the asana, and then you have the breath restraint also with bandha, and then suddenly it is becoming a tool of unblocking. So, firm moral ethical foundation, yama niyama, asana and pranayama, and shuddhi kriyas for mala shuddhi, then nadi shuddhi through the pranayama, the bandhas to be applied in the mudras, and then you are ready for laya yoga. And at laya yoga, you start to convert the mass into energy by the power of the mental focus.
Okay, so I think that was a very, very extensive explanation of the journey of Kundalini. And thank you so much for that. So before we end up, I wanted to, give some takeaways on what can people practice, right? So what can we do on an everyday basis? But I think you've touched on that already with the asana and pranayama and all of the other practices that you talked about, starting with yama niyamas and then also the mudras and bandhas. So anything else you want to add?
Well, I think the key is there has to be integrity. If a circuit is not integral, the energy cannot flow. This is why Sri Aurobindo called this yoga integral yoga. Swami Satchidananda of Yogaville and of course Coimbatore also called it integral yoga. See, integrity has to be what is integrity? Integrity means your thought, your word and your action should be the same. But most people, what is happening is the thought is thinking something, the word is saying something else, and then they do something else. So then they become a disintegrated human being, and then energy cannot flow because it's like you have pieces of the wire, there's no continuity. So if you want to experience energy, leave the techniques out of it. A simple rule of life is try to become an integrated human being where your thought, word and action will start to be the same. Now people say, oh my God, Dr. Ananda, you mean whatever I think I should say, I'll be in trouble. I said, what it means is be careful that you don't think something you won't say. So you start to go the other way. You mean whatever I say I have to do, oh my God, I'll be in trouble. What you won't do, don't say. What you won't say, don't think. You go in the reverse way. How do you go from, you have the rabbit through the maze going to the carrot. Go the other way, carrot to the rabbit, and you solve the problem easily. So go in the reverse. What I will not do, I should not say I will do. And what I don't say I will do, I shouldn't think I will do. So you go from what you will do. So what is it I will do? Only that much I will say. What I will say, only that much I will think. And suddenly you start to have this beautiful sense of balance, harmony, connectivity, and integrity. I often sing in one of my songs this. Sindai sul seyalum ondrai. Sindai, your thought. Sul, your word. Seyal, your action. Sindai sul seyalum ondrai. விளங்கிடவே வாழ்வோமே சிந்தை சொல் செயலோம் ஒன்றாய் விளங்கிடவே வாழ்வோமே சிந்தை சொல் செயலோம் ஒன்றாய். That beautiful connection, we should live in a way. And then in music you go சரி சனி தபம கம பதனி சிந்தை சொல் சரி சனி சனி தாபமா பதனி சிந்தை சொல் கரி கரி சனி தனி சரி கரி கம பம கம கரி சனி தனி சிந்தை சொல் செயலும் ஒன்றாய். And you start to have that connection. It's part of one of my compositions where I say, சோதிப்பதே அவன் கடன், சாதிப்பதே நம் கடன். To test us is the divine's job. To overcome it is our job. It's from one of my compositions in Thodi. Sodhipaduve avan kadan, Sodhipaduve nam kadan. Sodhipaduve avan kadan, Sodhipaduve nam kadan. Sodhipaduve nam kadan. See, the divine is there to test us. What is our job? To overcome the test. How can we overcome? When thought, word and action become one. That is what a yogi is. A yogi is an integrated, noble human being. Integrated, noble human being is a yogi, where thought, word, action comes together, and then the energy flows. Because there's no duality. You are at peace. You are not blown into pieces.
What can I say? I mean, just absolutely beautiful, the singing. You have a lot of appreciation even from the great Prakash Kandasamy from Malaysia, who is my son Krishan's tabla teacher and one of the most famous musicians here in KL. So he says you're singing very beautifully. Superb singing, Anand.
Prakash ji, I hope to make music with you when I visit Malaysia once we get through this COVID crisis. It would be a great pleasure to make music with you on a trip to Malaysia, which will definitely happen.
Yeah, so just want to say hi to Kaustubh, who had checked in here. I don't know if he's still around, but just acknowledging him. And also Ignatius' uncle. I don't know what time it is in the UK, but thank you for showing up here. And thank you all the others. Now, I know I should be stopping, but I have this one last question that I really must ask. And I had told Dr. Ananda that I had to ask him this question because this whole topic is energy. And on a personal note, I have never met anybody else who has more energy than Dr. Ananda. If you would just, I don't even know one hundredth of what he does, but I can only imagine having 6 events a day. For the first time, I had probably six events in 3 weeks, and I'm completely wiped out. But it's just amazing energy that he shows in his own life. And I just want to know, was he always like this? What is it? What are your personal practices that you undertake to, keep up this level of energy? How do you function at this level of energy?
Boost is the secret of my energy. As a youngster, I used to really get irritated when I saw Kapil Dev come on screen and boost is the secret of my energy, and then Tendulkar, boost is the secret of my energy. Such lies in the name of advertising. See, energy. I told you, energy is the currency of the universe. And what is the currency of self-effort, of spirituality? It is self-effort. So self-effort is the currency of spirituality, and the currency of the universe is energy. So when you want your spirituality and the universe to align, basically you have to bring the concept of self-effort and energy together. I believe that effort as a human being is paramount importance. Effort to be the best version of yourself, to be true to yourself. When I talk about integration of thought, word, and action, this is not something I just talk about. This is something I strive to bring into every moment of my life. Because the moment you have that integrity and that integration occurs, you're not wasting energy. I think most of us, what is happening is we are wasting a lot of energy as noise. Because what is happening is that it is like, someone taking a bucket of water from the pond to water the plants. But if that bucket is filled with holes, you will be going 200 times from pond to plant and still not achieve your goal. So make sure that your container doesn't have holes in it. So the holes of energy are when we are caught up because we have thought something, we have said something, we have done something, we are trying to find how we are going to get out of this mess. We are using all our energy to sort of be in that insurance policy. It's like you're paying all your money for insurance policy rather than spending on having a nice life. The second thing I have to say is, when blessed with physical and spiritual genetics of two parents, both of whom were one of a kind. Swamiji was one of a kind, Amma one of a kind. So two one of a kind parents coming together, the physical and spiritual genetics I've been blessed with. I realized my blessing, I realized how fortunate I am, and with that I realized the responsibility to care and share unconditionally, lovingly with whoever comes into my life and whose ever life I come into. So for me, caring and sharing unconditionally and focusing on giving. I have never focused on getting. The whole focus is on what can I give. If I'm in conversation with Shailaja, what can I give to that conversation? If I am teaching a class, what can I bring to that class? If I'm singing a concert, what can I bring to it? If I'm eating food, what can I bring to it? Whenever you are doing anything, what can I bring to it? That giving of the self, what happens is your ego goes out of the way. And the moment your ego goes out of the way, the most biggest block, the ego, when it's out of the way, you'll have 10 times the energy you have. Because you are not worried what people will think about you. I have stopped worried. Someone has asked a question, Lakshmi Narayanan, do you experience nervous energy or are you always confident? See, I used to be very tense when I tried to be something else. When you try to be somebody else, you will waste a lot of energy. When you try to be someplace else, as Shailaja the other day said, when you're at home, you're thinking of office. When you're in office, you're thinking of home. Well, you're wasting energy. When you're at home, be at home. You have conserved energy. When you're in office, be in office. You have conserved energy. And when you are you are conserving energy. If I want to be, oh, Dr. Ananda is going to be this very super serious, very glum yogi who will only, smile at very few people and speak, the higher. If I try to act something else, imagine the energy I have to put into it to be somebody else. I don't care about being somebody else. I am happy being myself. I am happy with the life I have been given. I am happy with what I have. And in that, suddenly you have all this extra energy, like extra resources. And it becomes natural. So I don't do anything special for energy, okay? I don't have an energy.
There's no secret mantra that we can get from you, like a tap of peacock's feather.
No, that's what. The secret is just be you. Because when you conserve energy. When you are conserving energy. It's like, if I just have to wear the same kurta, I don't have to go and buy 10 new kurtas for 10 different events. Because I want to look different in each one. Because, I have an image. This idea of carrying an image, just be. As Ramana Maharishi said, Summa, just be. Just be and you have energy. This is why, when you sit in dhyanam, when you sit quietly, you calm your mind, you calm your thoughts, and suddenly what happens? You go into a hypometabolic state. You conserve energy. Your body doesn't need energy much. And all your energy can be focused towards your life purpose, living your dharma. And does diet matter? Of course, yes. No doubt about that, because unhealthy diet, junk food diet will increase the mala, increase the blockage, and then you need more energy to bulldoze your blockages. The less the blockages, you don't have to use a bulldozer. You can just walk through it. So yes, diet, I would say definitely Satvika diet as much as possible. Now and then I enjoy my instant noodles and I do enjoy my coffee, okay? So yes, my family is one who has coffee, but coffee is not the secret of my energy, I'll say that. Some people think so, but it's not. The secret of energy is be yourself. Just be.
Yeah, so I think we have, I was going to say come to the end, but I think we have one more question here. Is Karma Yoga alone enough for spiritual experiences without Ashtanga Yoga?
Any path of yoga is enough. Eka Tattva Abhyasa, says Maharishi Patanjali. Choose one tattva, choose one practice and go deep into it. This whole idea that I have to have, 10% of Bhakti Yoga and 20% of Hatha Yoga and 16% of Laya Yoga and then 17% of Dog Yoga and the latest Crab Yoga, and, you don't need that. 100% on any one path is well and good, and Karma Yoga, it's an amazing path because you can get yourself out of the way through Karma Yoga and then energy can flow. So yes, Ravi Chandranji, why not? And thank you to Kaustubh for listening to the singing.
So I think with this, we really have to come to a close. And I just want to wind up with so many takeaways. But towards the end, I think what people can take home is really that alignment is not just, though alignment is a big word in yoga circles, and everybody's trying to align the little toe to the big toe to the heel. So alignment is, well, it begins with the body. That's my take on it. It begins with the body, but ultimately, as Dr. Ananda was saying, it is about living an integrated life, authentic life, which requires that alignment, not just of your body, but with your mind, with your thoughts, with your actions, your intentions. All of that has to come. So that is the ultimate alignment that we seek, which begins maybe with the alignment of the body. Yeah. So I think that is one takeaway, this concept of alignment. And then I really liked, as I think Divya has mentioned there, what Amaji says, container with the holes. I think that is so true. I think we allow our energy to really, flow through these holes and be wasted. So I think we have to really become more conscious of where our energy goes, and to understand that even our activity of the mind is really somewhere, is movement of energy. And a lot of our mind activity is restless, agitated, and is just wasted. So to be more conscious of the ways in which our energy is wasted, I think that is very unique to people, and it's something we can all reflect on. And then also, of course, be yourself is such a great piece of advice to people, to just not waste energy trying to be somebody other than you, who you are. And finally, I think that's the end of it. So with this, we conclude this session. Thank you so much, Dr. Ananda, for this wonderful, very illuminating, I'm borrowing my cousin Lakshmi's words, very illuminating, authenticity is the key, yes. So so fabulous, conversation, Dr. Ananda, even more fabulous singing. And thank you so much, really, for taking the time. I mean, really, guys, Dr. Ananda has like 5 events or 6 events a day. So, giving us this 1 hour and 16 minutes is really a huge act of generosity of his spirit. I think that was the point that I had missed out on, giving. Yeah. So if we worry about what we get out of any situation, I think a lot of energy again goes in that. So when you just selflessly give, I think, and I think Dr. Ananda's own life is an epitome of that. So we can have a lot of takeaways from here, and I really hope it shifts some aspect of our life through this conversation. So thank you so much, Dr. Ananda. Will you wind up with a bhajan or a song, or you just want to wind up? You're late already. That's fine. We can just wind up. Mantra, anything.
Later vandalon, latest varano. So no issue at all there. No. I think we have talked so much about energy and who's the source of energy, Adi Parashakti. So I think a small bhajan on Adi Parashakti, and I talked about the psychic umbilical cord, Manipura, connecting to Jagat Janani. So, Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Akhilandeshwari Palayamam. Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Akhilandeshwari Palayamam, Akhilandeshwari Palayamam. Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Madurai Meenakshi Palayamam, Madurai Meenakshi Palayamam. Oi, Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Jagat Janani, Jagan Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Adi Parashakti Palayamam, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Kanchi Kamakshi Palayamam, Kanchi Kamakshi Palayamam. Oi, Jagat Janani, Jagat Mata, Adi Parashakti Palayamam. Madurai Meenakshi Palaya Mam, Akilandeshwari Palaya Mam, Adiparasakti Palaya Mam, Kanchi Kamakshi Palaya Mam, Yoga Mahashakti Palaya Mam, Yoga Mahashakti Palaya Mam. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayam, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Ananda. You certainly saved the best for the last. I don't know what else to say. Just thank you so much. Namaste. And thank you, all of you, for having been here with us, talk to us continuously, and, lifted our spirits and kept us going, and, encouraging us to keep these conversations going. So thank you all so much. And until our next conversation, stay safe. In Malaysia, we're all still under lockdown. So stay safe.